as I was going through the grief process, and, I really kind of realized how much I enjoyed storytelling, and I wanted to tell my story. And I think that's where I ended up blogging and, really falling into the whole social media side of it and the writing aspect. And I think it was a lot of, I wanted to be a resource too for other women who went through, infant loss. And I have found that, sharing my story, people have reached out to me, like, just to kind of talk.
Welcome to the My SGV podcast. Our mission is to capture and share the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. We believe our diversity is what makes the SGV great. And no matter where you're from in the San Gabriel Valley, you will feel welcome.
All right, SGVers, welcome back to another episode of the My SGV podcast. Thank you for tuning in. If you are new here, we bring you the stories of the people of the San Gabriel Valley. And if you are a returning listener, thank you for coming back, and sit back, relax. We have a new guest for you. Well, Scott, as long as I've lived in Pasadena, East Pasadena to be specific, I would say the last 4 or 5 years, there has been a noticeable increase in the homeless, or I guess they're referred to as unhoused now. Have you seen this trend, in the places that you visit?
Yeah, I notice it here. I notice it really everywhere. I mean, I travel around a bit through Southern California. Actually, I don't notice it where I am living now, which is the Palm Springs area, but I'm sure it is a problem. But here in, like, specifically Pasadena, Los Angeles County, it's a major problem. Orange County, major problem, yes.
And what I understand, even some families, some individuals just drop off people in warmer climates to survive. So, we're just going to have more, I think, based on that alone. But there's been an increase, like I could feel it.
There's a problem in people, being able to afford a place to live. It's just getting out of hand. I mean, what you see happening here is probably more of a problem than other places. I'm not sure, but it's just too expensive. As you were noting before, 7 out of the 10 most expensive places to live in the U.S. are in California.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an unfortunate problem. There's not enough housing, not enough new housing being built, not enough affordable housing, and I'm sure a host of other problems that our guest will know, better how to speak to than I do. But
sure,
it's a problem.
Do you know what 2 cities were surprising to hear on that list? Riverside and San Bernardino. I was shocked. I thought, so from San Gabriel Valley, if I want to find affordable housing, I'm thinking I'm going to go east, right?
Right.
But who would have thought like that? Those cities are now, some of the most expensive in the nation.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that too.
Yeah, that was quite shocking.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, it's compared to the rest of the country. You may not be thinking compared to Pasadena, Riverside is expensive, but look at the whole country.
Right.
And it's a probably more apt comparison.
Sure. Sometimes I play around on Zillow and I look around, I'll go over to like South Carolina or Texas or just these areas and see the homes, and you're getting like acres of land and this 5-story house, and it's, I don't know, $300,000. And I'm like, wow, is that for real?
Yeah, and it is. But I'm also noticing even in some of these secondary cities, the prices are going up, like Providence, Rhode Island. At one time it was probably a fairly inexpensive place, but you're going to spend $1 million to get a 2-bedroom place. So, I like to look throughout the country as well.
Sure. Well, I'm excited to hear what our guest has to share about this specific topic. But before we get into that, thank you, Paris Baguette in San Gabriel, for these delicious treats. I often say that we have to resist, but we had I think it's like a little cheese tart, from there. Actually, I said
Today.
we, but I did. You didn't have it, Tori. Tori actually resisted. So thank you, Paris Baguette, for sponsoring the treats and refreshments. Go check them out in the city of San Gabriel on Las Tunas Boulevard. Well, let me introduce our guest for today. She is the marketing specialist for San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. Her name is Cynthia Duarte. Cynthia, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, we're talking about this problem of the unhoused and homelessness. You must see this from, a very different perspective from a lot of us.
I do. So, I work for Habitat for Humanity, and a big misconception is that we do give homes to the homeless, and that's not what we do. Our goal is to give a hand up and not a handout. So actually every homeowner through Habitat for Humanity, they go through a process, and it's all low income, and there is income requirements, but they also, and I think this is one of the best features of our program, is they do sweat equity hours. So they actually have to help build their homes. They have to put in 250 hours for each adult in the home. So they help to build their own homes, like physically with a hammer. So I think that's one of my favorite aspects to our programs, our homeownership programs.
Yeah, I was, sign me up. I can do that. Well, I'd love to get more information about that, but typically when we have guests here, they're here to share their own personal story, and you're here on behalf of San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. But just so the listener can, be familiar with you, what is your connection to the San Gabriel Valley?
All right. So I was born and raised and lived in El Sereno up until the last 5 years. I moved to Covina, but El Sereno was my home. It has my heart, that little community. Yeah, I went to elementary school, middle school, Wilson High School.
Wilson on the Hill?
Wilson on the Hill.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I actually lived in a small area of El Sereno. It's called Hillside Village, which is right underneath Wilson, the surrounding neighborhoods. So that's where I grew up. That's my tie to San Gabriel Valley. And yeah.
Some might say El Sereno is like just on the
Border.
outside, but West Covina is definitely in the San Gabriel Valley.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm definitely on the borders. So everything in between.
I say Wilson on the Hill because I used to play basketball there.
Oh, yeah. Everyone knows Wilson on the Hill.
Is that around like 42nd Street off
It's off
off
of
Soto.
Soto.
off of Soto, off of the 110, right?
Yeah.
Or off
No, off the 10.
Off the 10.
Off the 10.
Mhm, by Cal State LA.
Okay, right.
Whenever I'm in that area, I think of there's a scene in, I don't know if you've ever seen Blood In, Blood Out. Like that area is sort of in that film. I'm not sure if it's exactly there. There's a shot on the bridge that goes across the freeway there.
Yeah, that's
So.
a little further, but grew up watching that movie.
So now you're officially a San Gabriel Valley resident.
Yes. I always felt like El Sereno was part of San Gabriel Valley. Because living in El Sereno, I'm in Alhambra. So, there was no big grocery chains, anything. Everything was in Alhambra. So I was always there.
So how did you get into what you're doing now?
Yeah. Well, so a little bit of a backstory there. I was a stay-at-home mom, work-from-home mom. I was a blogger, influencer back in the day when my girls were really little. I had a Latina lifestyle blog called Kinda Silly Mommy, and that was a lot of fun. And then, life took a turn. I had to give up that. I had to go look for a 9-to-5. Ended up in a welfare to work program, and they placed me at Habitat for Humanity, which I had never heard of before, beyond the, they build homes, but I didn't really know much about it. They placed me there as a, like an office clerk kind of thing, but I had skills in social media. So because I ran my own blog and I had run social media from the start, I was involved with Instagram and Pinterest from the very beginning. I kind of used those skills for Habitat for Humanity, applied them to that. And 5 years later, I'm the marketing specialist for Habitat for Humanity.
I see. And so you sort of learned about them as you started your career with them.
Yes, I had no idea. I was pleasantly surprised, and I've loved learning our location, like our offices, used to be attached to a restore, which I had no idea what a restore was. Do you know what a restore is?
No, I was going to ask you, what is a restore?
Yeah, so the Habitat for Humanity has a restore. What we do there is we pick up items from the community. So we pick up donated items, tables, couches, beds, things like that, and we resell them to the public at a low cost. So we only accept, items and gently used items, but we also get corporate donations. They're overstock. So we'll get, $2,000 couch, and we're going to sell it for $150. So, and that's open to the public. So we're able to provide that service to the community. And then all of the proceeds from our restores go back into helping us to build affordable housing.
Where are the restores?
So we just opened one in Pasadena. It's almost a year. We're on Sierra Madre and
Wow, really? So it's in like East Pasadena area.
yes, sorry. So Sierra Madre in Colorado. It used to be an old Fetty furniture.
Oh, I know exactly
Yeah.
where that is. It's across the
That's
street
what
from
everyone
Vons.
says. Yes,
Yeah.
right across the street from Vons.
Oh,
So we took over that location a year ago in May, and so it's a 2-story restore now.
Wow.
Wow.
So you get new furniture, which is donated by the manufacturer.
Big companies, high-end companies.
Because I'm used to paying $3,000 for a $2,000 couch.
I was just going to
I
ask.
could get a $150 one.
Chairs like this, we get chairs like this all the time, and
Really?
they're $50, $75.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that if you know about it, you almost don't want to tell people.
Yeah, right.
But we want to tell people. We want more.
Yeah.
We're going to cut this out. Victoria's going to cut it out.
at least until after we make a
go
visit.
shop. Well, that's one location. That's our biggest location. We also have one in Duarte. So that's right where the 605 ends on Huntington Drive. We have a location there as well. And that site has a lot more building supplies. So you can come in and buy, tile flooring at a really low cost and, redo your kitchen.
Wow.
You said the office is adjacent to that restore? So you're right there?
It used to be.
Oh, okay.
We used to have a location in Azusa on Irwindale, and everyone knew that location. It was hidden but well known. But now our offices are located in Monrovia.
I see. Wow, that's really close by. I'm going to go check it out. Are you ever in the restore, or are you mainly in the office?
I'm all over. So I do go to the office, and then I'll head to the Duarte restore. I take pictures. I post them on our Instagram every day because the inventory changes so quickly.
Yeah.
So we'll have, a brand new refrigerator in today. I'm like, oh, it's $300, guys. This is a $1,200 refrigerator. $300 today. It's gone in an hour. So I have to, update it constantly.
How can we get the inside scoop when there's a $2,000 table for or a couch for sale
You
for
have to follow us on
$150?
Instagram. You have to follow at SGV Restores, and I tag it with the location. So are you going to go to Duarte? You're going to go to Pasadena today? That'll be the decision.
But sadly, you're probably going to get a lot of people that can't afford it and then just want to get it cheap. And this is my understanding, meant for, people who can't really afford it.
I mean, it's meant for, who can afford that? Everyone can afford, it's meant for everyone. It really is open to the public. I mean, whether you're going to buy a brand new item at $75 or one that's a little bit more gently used for $25, you have that option at our restore.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, when I hear Habitat for Humanity before, I just thought like they build homes for people. But and you mentioned that you help them, right? So what is the process? Like, how do you find the people? How do you get the land? How do you get the materials? Like, how does that all work?
Well, so we're always looking for land within San Gabriel Valley. At the moment, we have build sites. We have a church that was donated to us in Baldwin Park. So we are going to keep some of that church, keep some of the walls, but also build. And that'll be, I want to say it's something like 16 units that will be built there. Those will be affordable homes. The El Sereno, we just acquired homes in El Sereno. It was the Caltrans, I don't remember the number, but basically Caltrans, they were going to try to connect the 710 to Pasadena. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they purchased all those homes. They never did the continuation of the freeway. So just recently, they were up not up for grabs, but we were able to, we get grants, and we have, we get grants from cities or, Cal Home, and they help us to purchase these properties. So that's another 16 residences that we will be either repairing or building 2 homes on a single lot. So those will all be affordable homes that will be open to the public. So there's lots of different ways that it goes about, or we just find a lot of land, and we we're going to purchase that lot of land, and we build from there.
Since you require sweat equity, then now you have the property or you have the site, you need to find the owner or the future owner and bring them in at that point to get them involved in the process.
So that is a long process, and it's very admirable, these homeowners, because it really is, it can be a long process. It's as easy as starting with, hey, I went to your website and I filled out the initial form. And then we reach out like, hey, here's the rest of the forms. Fill these out. There is, credit requirements, income requirements. It's all low income. But if they stick with it, stick with the long process, eventually they qualify. And once they're qualified, then they can start working on their sweat equity hours and, helping to build their own homes. And sometimes they're helping to build a home not knowing, is this going to be my future home? I don't know yet. Or will it be the next home? It is kind of a process.
I see. They're involved as a volunteer.
Yes.
And they will build a home, but that won't necessarily be their own home.
Not necessarily.
I see.
But that just almost makes it more impactful, because there are people who are helping to build homes, not knowing if this is going to be their home, but then they see that family get into that particular home, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready. Like, it's going to be my turn. My turn is next. So unfortunately, like in the recent years that I've been there, it's been one home at a time. But currently we've
got some
so many. Yes. Yeah.
What is considered low income?
I can't speak on the income qualifications, only because it changes. And I want to say it changes in April. Okay. So it might have changed. But what I can say is that our goal for Habitat for Humanity is homeowners will never pay more than 30% of their total income. So imagine that. Imagine your rent not being any more than 30% of what you bring home. That's kind of where we cut that.
I'm curious about the organization, because I didn't realize that it was domestic. In other words, my thought when I heard of Habitat for Humanity, I would think they're building homes outside the country.
It's international.
Yeah,
it is. We build in every state, but we also have partners outside of the United States. Like our San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity does. We have a global partner, so we help to provide funding for Haiti and the Philippines for homes to be built in those particular countries. But I think every affiliate kind of has a global partner.
When did it start?
Well, San Gabriel Valley?
The organization.
I want to say 1976. I always pop quiz my crew, and I don't have the answer sheet in front of me.
And where?
I think it was
how did
1976.
It start? Did President Carter have anything to do with it?
He didn't start the organization.
Okay.
It was started by Linda and Millard Fuller, but President Carter and his wife Rosalind Carter was they were big proponents of it, big supporters of Habitat right from the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everyone knows them as like, oh, did they start it? They didn't start it.
I
but
associate them with
so
Habitat
many people
for
does.
Humanity.
Yeah, they're one of our most famous volunteers, is what we say.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, our Women Build, we have a month-long Women Build. We have groups come out and all support women and women empowerment and women using power tools that they don't normally do. And they are on these build sites. And this year's Women Build was in honor of Rosalind Carter.
How is the 250 hours distributed? Like over what period of time?
I don't know time-wise. I guess it kind of depends, because there has been circumstances where I've seen like, oh, this family is going to be into that home, and something happens, whether they drop out of the program last minute and we pull in someone new, I don't know the time period that they need to finish those hours. I know it can be as like after the home dedication and after they have their keys. I believe they can still finish those hours. So there is a time period. I'm not quite sure, but the cool thing is that they can spread those hours out, whether they're on a construction site or they're volunteering at the restore or doing hospitality events. So like our community engagement events, they can come and do the tables at the eco fair, and that's part of their hours too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the cool thing too is their family members can donate their hours. So say you have a family of, 10 aunts and uncles, they can come and volunteer and donate those hours to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of a cool day when families come out together.
Yeah.
Oh, so I would imagine a lot of the 250 may not even be actually building then. There's so many different ways to.
There's a lot of ways to spread it out. I think most of it is supposed to go to hands-on building.
And how is that guided or orchestrated or, managed? I'm assuming there's somebody on site who's built it before, right? So do they just assign different jobs to them, or are they teaching them how to do specific things?
Our construction crew is awesome. It's only a handful of people too. I mean, we have expanded just in the last couple months because of the volume of build sites that we have at the moment. But it's always been like maybe 5 people on our construction crew, and everything else is from volunteers. And we have dedicated volunteers who just every Saturday they're on a build site, and those become our crew leaders. But it really is just led by, our staff is very small in comparison to our volunteers. So that's why we always need volunteers.
And are they teaching like every step of the way, like foundation, framing, roof, electrical,
all that? If you're
that?
there every step of the way, then you're learning every step of the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be a great experience just to learn that the skills.
It is, yeah. It's a really fun experience. I tell everyone, if you get a chance, if you have 4-6 hours and you want to go use a power tool, whether you're going to be demoing a house so we can start over or, whatever it may be. Sometimes it's even just as simple as painting or landscaping at the very end of a project. It's a fun experience.
And I imagine you have volunteers who have no interest in getting a house for themselves, but they're just contributing time.
Yeah.
On like regular volunteers every Saturday they're there.
Yes. Yeah. No, sometimes I ask, I'm like, I see you all the time. What do you do?
Yeah.
And one of our volunteers, he's like, well, I work in the tech business and I'm in the office all the time and I just like being outside. So he's there every Saturday.
Are you just inundated with requests to, get a house? I would imagine if, there must be a lot of people who are wanting this.
Yes and no. It is a process. It is. That's why I say it's very admirable. Our homeowners, they really have stuck with it because, the process of for me, paperwork is daunting on its own. So, that there's that, but it can be a long process, especially with COVID. Ever since I was there, I started before COVID. And once, all of these people we had ready, they were so ready for their homes and we just shut down for a while. So a lot of them either no longer qualified because of life changes or they just moved on from the program. And, that was unfortunate. But people ask all the time, how can I get in? How can I do it? It really is just, start with the application and go from there.
Is there a meaningful story that you remember in your time since working there about a family being placed into a home?
So many, so many stories. Because I do the marketing, so I do get to hear like the backstories, and not everyone does. And I love to share their stories. So as recently as our Olive Avenue home in Altadena, that family, they were from Lincoln Heights, which was, not too far from El Sereno. So I related to them. It was a family of 5 and they were living in a 1-bedroom. And even though they both parents were working and they had their struggles And what, one of the things that the mother, Brenda, said was, I just look forward to being able to all sit at the dining table with my family together, because they couldn't do that in the place that they were at before. So when we did their home dedication and they got to walk in, and the kids got to see their bedrooms for the first time, and their kitchen is beautiful and new. Just to see their faces when they walk into the completed home, like that's just, that'll always stay with me.
Mm-hmm. Any other stories you wish to share?
Yeah, right from when I started in 2019. And again, as a welfare to work volunteer, I didn't know where I was going to go from there. But my first week was a Women Build Day. And I got to go to a work site in Pasadena. This was on Manzanita in Pasadena. And I got to see the walls go up on an empty lot, So I didn't know what the house was going to look like. And then to go to the home dedication so many months later and see the family, walk into that home, and, a single mom talking about this opportunity for her. And I'm a single mom to 2 teenage daughters, so that resonated with me too.
Do you have any idea how many homes have been built
in San Gabriel Valley?
In the San Gabriel Valley?
I think it's something like maybe close to 30, something like that.
How long have they been here?
So San Gabriel Valley Habitat started in 1990, so 34 years now. Our first home was in Pasadena. Our most recent home was in Altadena.
Wow. So 30 in all those years. So, wow.
So that's like one a year.
Yeah.
And then recently you've been getting like 16 at a time.
Yeah. Well,
so
a few of the properties are several homes. So like Desiderio in Pasadena, that one is, I want to say 6 homes on that lot. We have some sites in Glendale that were also like, I want to say 6 homes also. So there are multiple homes on there, on these locations, but still beautiful.
So how does it work if they're putting in the 250 hours and it's a multi-unit place? And so I'm sorry, maybe I'm confused. Like, they're purchasing the home still,
Yes.
but at a lower cost?
Yes.
And so what if it's that 16-unit place? What happens there?
Well, so each home has their own mortgage, right? So they have to go, the sweat equity goes towards their mortgage for that home.
So that would be like a townhouse?
Right, yeah. So they're not...
16 homes.
Right. They're all on their own lot, I guess you could say. Those coming up.
Oh, so the homes that were built, they're below the Pasadena Bridge.
Yes.
That's Habitat for Humanity.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I saw those being built. Do you know the ones?
Those are Desiderio.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I definitely know that. If you walk across the Colorado Street Bridge, you can see almost directly below on the, I don't know, that would be the south side.
Oh, don't ask me.
I believe the south side. The opposite the Rose Bowl side.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, right below, there's, how many homes there? 16?
I want to say that's, no, I think that's 6, and those are full,
those
full-size homes.
All independent homes, yeah.
It's just a community at this point, yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, those are them.
Yeah, that was about probably 10 years ago. I don't know. I remember those being built.
Not quite.
Yeah.
Maybe 7, 8 years, something like that. Yeah, that was a big project.
What happens to the people who go through and maybe don't get a home, or does that happen? Like, you go through the process, they're approved, and does it ever happen that they won't get into a home?
I mean, as long as they stay qualified. So just like if you're going to buy a home, you don't want to also buy a car, right before, that kind of thing. Like, you just have to stay aware that you need to stay qualified. But there has been times where people have, like, I have an opportunity for a better job that's going to pay me more, which will make it so I don't qualify for a low-income housing or homeownership program. And they have to weigh what they want to do. Are they going to take that job and that opportunity, or, stay with the program? And, that's their choice. So, I mean, unless they make a big life change.
I see. Well, Cynthia, we ask each guest to bring an item with them. What did you bring with you today?
I brought, I'm not a very sentimental person. All of my memories are tied to photographs, but I gave it some thought, and I did bring a teddy bear. I brought a teddy bear. It says my first bear. So I was trying to think of what is so significant in my life. And so I am a mom first. I'm a single mom. And my firstborn son passed away shortly after he was born. And it kind of just changed the whole trajectory of my life. At the time I was going to be a teacher. It just changed my life. And I am where I am now, and I'm happy I'm a single mom, but I love it, and I love what I do. I love where I'm at. But yes, with my son passing away, your firstborn.
Oh, tragedy.
It really did just, I didn't know where my life was going to end up. But
boy, and you overcame that.
I did. And, as I was going through the grief process, and, I really kind of realized how much I enjoyed storytelling, and I wanted to tell my story. And I think that's where I ended up blogging and, really falling into the whole social media side of it, and the writing aspect. And I think it was a lot of, I wanted to be a resource too for other women who went through, infant loss. And I have found that, sharing my story, people have reached out to me, like, just to kind of talk.
Yeah, you just have to be a positive person. How did you deal with that?
It wasn't easy. I have to say, I really did lean towards my faith, as whereas I see where people could lean away. But I did. I leaned towards my faith, and there's a reason. I don't know I didn't know what the reason was, but it really was a matter of I maybe it's so I can tell my story, so I can help other people. Kind of I think I fell into that. Like, I think this is just my opportunity to tell people and help others.
But a brutal experience to go through just to be able to share with other people.
And I have to say, I did. I had my daughters very soon after. I made a point. I was like, I really have to have a baby. And so I prayed, and I was blessed with my daughter just a year later, and then another daughter shortly after that. So I have to say it was easier, maybe, just the fact that I had my little girls to really help me, distract me, but also give me that joy and that reason. And, I was able to share. I think I would have had a harder time had they not followed so closely behind. And
this teddy bear, when did you get the teddy bear?
So this was even before. So this had to have been from his shower, his baby shower, because we really didn't know that anything was wrong. It was a complete surprise, a shock. He was born, he had a inoperable heart defect, and the doctors didn't know ahead of time. We didn't know ahead of time. So, his nursery was ready. The car seat was in the car. We really didn't expect that at all. So we had to, we had all of the baby's stuff ready. And it wasn't easy to hold on to a lot of those things, but a few of them I did, and his teddy bear is one of them.
Thank you for sharing that story with us and bringing the item with us. I can't imagine what that must have been like. Did you name him?
His name is Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel Anthony. That name, we named him after an angel from the Bible. But every time, it's been 17 years this year. And every time I hear somebody shout Gabriel, it just guts me every time. But that'll never change. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that story with us and bringing that in. I want to get into more of what is in store with Habitat for Humanity, but let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sometimes, even the best of us can slip up. That's why the law offices of Scott Wormuth are here to pick you back up again.
And while they strive to get you the biggest compensation possible, oh my gosh!
Their main concern is your health and recovery. They work closely with doctors and insurance companies to make sure you get the proper medical treatment.
Initial consultations are free, so give them a call.
At the law offices of Scott Wormuth, we're with you all the way.
I'm Scott Wormuth. We've been fighting for your rights for more than 40 years.
All right, we're back with Cynthia. Cynthia, before the break, you were sharing about your son and the teddy bear that you brought. Before we move on with the show, we like to ask a question from this box of cards called Icebreakers when we return from the break. And they're just a way for the audience to get to know us a little bit better. And you can choose to answer it or not. Here we go. This is one that was asked before, so I have a head start. I know how to answer this one, but it's still good. When you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I've always wanted to be a teacher. That was I always figured I would be a teacher, and I did. I was going into it. I was working on my credential as an undergrad. My major was education, so I was going there. Again, when my son passed and changed my whole direction and goal in life. But I do think, and I take pride in the fact that I was my daughter's first teacher. I raised them at home. I was stay at home. So I tell them all the time, I was like, I taught you how to talk and walk. So I was a teacher. Yeah.
You completely educated them at home?
No, just, the beginning years.
Oh, okay.
Your colors because of me. So you're welcome.
Do you remember my answer to this, Scott?
No, and I don't remember my answer.
Well, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I always wanted to be a professional baseball player.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Yeah. And I think I made the joke that, and eventually I did become of course I didn't really. But, that probably more than anything else, I would say a baseball player. Oh. But I don't remember yours.
I always wanted to be a father. Oh. Do you remember that?
Now I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I always wanted to be a father.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I would always imagine doing stuff, teaching my kids, going places with my kids.
It's funny how we automatically answer like something we want to do or be, but your answer really is kind of a deeper answer. Is like,
that's just
something
all I
you
remember.
Want to be something you want your life to be.
Yeah. I remember I wanted to be a dad.
Wow.
A professional dad.
Just a dad. Because I would imagine scenarios, like experiencing them. As I was experiencing them, I would think, oh, this is going to be great when I get to share with my kid.
Yeah.
When I get to do this with them. Like I was always going through life with that as the thing. Even as I got older, it's going to be cool to, play basketball or show them, this thing or take them to this spot or go on this hike with them. I would always experience life in that way. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, for the listening audience, or if you're watching on YouTube, when you were younger, what did you want to be when you grew up? So, Cynthia, back to you and Habitat, San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity. You are the marketing specialist. So what does that mean? That you're in charge of getting eyes on what you guys do and bringing awareness to it?
Yes. I run our social media, which, everyone knows is such a big part of what we do and what everyone does, right? Social media is so huge and important. So I do social media. I also do our in-house graphics. So every flyer, every invitation, every banner, every sign, I design those. I love that. I love what I do.
Do you find that people, when they first come to you, like they're sort of shocked also at what Habitat for Humanity has to offer, or do they come with some sort of knowledge?
I think nobody knows what a restore is. And I love to enlighten people. I'm like, oh, you have no idea what you're missing. That's one of my favorite things to share with people is the restore. You really are. I mean, even if it's something, if you don't have to worry about affording or being able to afford a new refrigerator, then, that's amazing. But everyone knows somebody who could use that, And I've heard stories, like, oh, my refrigerator went out. How am I going to afford that? And, so-and-so told me about the restore. So I went there and you guys saved me, those kinds of things.
Gosh, I need a new refrigerator.
We have some nice ones, brand new.
Wow. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, got to check that Instagram.
I got it's a side-by-side. It's probably like, $2,500. I got it for $300 for a couple who had to move the next day and they had to get rid of it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And I just so happened to come up on it. Yeah. So it's lasted 9 years.
Oh, nice.
For
Now
300.
now you
Knock on
need
wood.
a new.
Now it's making some weird noises, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that noise? It's making all kinds of weird noises. So.
Yes. No, a lot of people, I mean, that's another service that we provide is picking up. So sometimes it's, I need to leave, the state in the next 2 weeks. Can you just come empty my house? And we offer like a $20, we ask for $20 donation to help with fuel surcharge, but we can come pick up your items.
Really?
So imagine that, like having someone come pick up your items for, $20-25.
Wow.
It's a great service.
And all of those proceeds go to helping with materials and tools and whatnot.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. And how often are you on site, like with the actual builds?
Oh gosh, I feel like I've been there so much recently, but that's because of our Women Build Month. So I'm there filming and taking pictures and doing all the marketing for these for groups that are out building, because we like to, I like to make some reels and fun videos of them. So I've been there like 6, 7, 8 times this month, just in March, and I'll be there tomorrow. Yeah, I try to go as often as possible. So if we are just building one home at the time, I try to get there, kind of frequently, because I like to see the process. You're like, oh, we just laid the foundation. Let me go get some pictures. Oh, the walls are going up. Let me go get some pictures, that kind of thing. So.
Oh, I have a question. If it's income based, would a 18-year-old qualify? Or
Yeah.
is there also age?
There isn't, I don't believe it is age. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Okay.
Like I'm thinking like an 18-year-old with their first job.
Right. So I don't know if we have age requirements, so I don't want to say yes or no. However, I can say that one of our most recent homeowners, future homeowners, because we haven't handed her the keys just yet, is 26 years old. And she is our youngest, and she is a female. She is a single woman. She is working. She works in another nonprofit. I've met her a few times, and she's amazing. And she found the program and went through it, and she's been working really hard to get her hours done. And so we're having her dedication later this month. So she'll get those keys to her home. She'll be the youngest female homeowner in San Gabriel Valley Habitat, as far as our homeowners. So 26.
Yeah,
that's
good.
pretty young.
Well, congratulations to her.
Yes, it's very exciting.
So I still have a question. So you finished the hours, and then maybe you're in this holding pattern waiting for a home to come up, and then it comes up. Let's say if it was regularly on the market for $500,000, what kind of loan are they looking at for that?
I don't know the numbers. I can't speak on that. Not well.
But they are getting a loan though on
Yes.
the home.
Do you provide the financing or
Yeah, Habitat does.
Oh.
Yeah, so the mortgages go through Habitat. We work with lenders. I do know the mortgages go through us, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, I can't speak on that specifically.
Okay. No problem. I'm just curious about that. Well, Cynthia, we're going to move on to the final portion of the show where we get to learn what you, Cynthia, likes about the San Gabriel Valley. Cynthia, this is what we call the SGV3, and we ask you to share your 3 favorite or most memorable places or experiences in the San Gabriel Valley. So what would be number 1?
This is tough. You warned me ahead of time, and I was trying to think what would I say. Well, so I started actually with Ascot Hills in El Sereno.
Ascot
Hills, yeah. So that is right across the street from Wilson on the Hill.
Okay.
Right? So now it's a hiking trail and park. But growing up, it was just gated off. Growing up walking up and down that hill for Wilson, it was just a gated off hilly area. We didn't know what was going to be done with it. And then in 2011 is when they finally did the groundbreaking and opened it up to the public. And so now it's hiking trails and it's a park and there's like amphitheater in there. And it's a cool spot for the community because the way I see it is I always grew up, in the city, so to find a green place in the middle of the city, somewhere where we can be outside and be with nature, even though it was right in the middle of El Sereno. But it's a really cool spot. You get to the top and you can see all of LA.
Is it literally across the street, right?
It's literally
I know
across the
exactly
street.
where that
Yeah.
is.
Mm-hmm.
And Does it start? So if I exit Soto from the 10 and then the turnoff, like it splits and then you have to go to the left, right? And then there's there used to be like a liquor store there on the left where you had to turn
Multnomah.
right to go up the hill.
Yes, that's Multnomah Street.
Is that liquor store still there? Do you know? Oh yeah, like this was like so long ago, and I used to play basketball there.
I haven't been in a little bit. It's changed a lot.
Yeah,
recently.
I would imagine.
But we used to call it the dairy. And
yes, that's right.
We were like, oh, the little dairy. But I know that it actually had a renovation, and they put tables outside and greenery, and I know that was during COVID that they kind of like renovated it so you could eat outside, and it was really nice.
Oh,
so
okay.
as far as I know, it's been a minute since I've been there, but but Ascot Hills is right there. It's right up that street, and
Yeah, I see that. It's a big park, isn't it?
it is. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice, escape from city life, So it was really nice.
And what's the second one?
So then I wanted to think of a restaurant, like one of my favorite restaurants. And I was like, well, my favorite food is fish tacos. My favorite place to eat fish tacos is Taco Nazo on Garvey in South Amani. That's my favorite fish taco place, shrimp tacos. Not just the food, but the place, the people, the staff. They're very welcoming. And I love going there on a warm day when it hasn't been warm for a while. And then you go and you can sit outside on the patio and have a beer and some fish tacos.
Taco Nazo.
Taco Nazo, yeah.
How do you spell
there's
it?
a lot of locations, but Taco, Taco, Nazo, Nazo. Taco
Z-O.
Nazo. Mm-hmm.
And what do you like to get there? The fish tacos, you said?
Fish tacos, shrimp cocktail, and a Corona.
Awesome.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite places.
So you'll come out from Covina to South
Yes.
or Almonte.
Yeah, I'll say, oh, it's a nice sunny day. Let's go grab some fish tacos. And my kids are like, yes, let's go.
And what's the third place?
And the third place, I had to say it would have to be the Pasadena Restore. And, it's not just, promotion, but it's because that was kind of one of my first big projects in marketing. We were handed that building as an empty building, nothing on the walls. It was kind of like handed to us like, all right, well, what are you going to do with it? And so I was able to pick the colors of the wall, stay on brand with Habitat, but I want the wall to be this color. And I designed the decals that are on the walls and the stories I wanted to tell. And it was kind of like a baby project for me. Like it was my baby. I got to pick where where we should place the certain departments and stuff like that. So that was a big deal for me. I was very proud of it when it opened, and it's a beautiful site, and as well as I know what it provides to the community and to people. It changes a lot of people. So yeah, I have to say Pasadena Restore. So when you go in and you see the bright green wall, and I'm like, I chose that.
I'm definitely going to check it out.
Yeah.
Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your story and for information with us.
Yes.
What's one bit of advice for someone who may be interested in getting a home eventually? What would you say to that person? I
would say be patient. And if you're interested in being a Habitat homeowner, which is, I got to say it's kind of exclusive because we don't, it's not very many, but it's an awesome program, and it really does start with visit our website and click on the application like apply now or I'm interested, and go from there, fill out that info. And it's changed so many people's lives, and it really does help. It helps to give people a dream, to reach their dream of home ownership, and it can, we say all the time, just having a safe and stable home can change, your children's lives too. Having a good place to study, a safe place, to grow up. It does, changes people's lives that way.
Yeah. And what is the website, and what's your Instagram handle?
So the website is sgvhabitat.org. You can follow us on Instagram, at SGV Habitat. You can follow the Restores to see what's on sale at SGV Restores. And I don't know if you want to follow me, but I'm at Kinda Silly Mommy. I'm still at Kinda Silly Mommy.
Awesome. Well, Cynthia, thank you so much for coming on the show. We do appreciate it. I hope that the people that are in the program now will someday enjoy that that moment when they get handed the keys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there you go. Another episode in the books for you. That was really eye-opening to hear like what they actually do and how they help people in the community to achieve home ownership. I was just really moved by the story of the person at 26 years old, like, taking, I believe she was a single mom, taking charge of her own destiny and going after that and then achieving it. What a tremendous story that is. If you like this kind of content, please consider subscribing. You can check out the full catalog of episodes on our website, mysgv.net. Don't forget to check out our store for some incredible merch there. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next week, we'll see you then.
Thank you for joining us on the MySGV podcast. Check out more of our content on our website, mysgv.net. This show was produced by Russell Mono and edited by Victoria Allers of Kind Monster Productions. If you'd like to join us next week as we capture and share more stories from our diverse community, feel welcome.
Nice matter. No, kind matter.